We are happy to have Chantal Bisson back today, joining us on our parent panel. Now, Chantal is an advice columnist for Milk and Heels magazine, also a regular contributor to the Huffington Post Canada, mainly focusing on parenting and relationships. And Chantal, we want to welcome you back. You're becoming a familiar face around here, and we love that.
Thank you. I love it too. Thanks for having me.
Well, and today we're going to talk about students feeling secure when they head off to school. So this, especially in the bigger cities or if they're a new student, very tough thing for some kids. So is it up to the parent to make sure that their kids feel secure, or do you need to bring teachers or friends into that equation?
Well, I think this is a really touchy subject right now, just with all that we see going on in schools in America, primarily with school shootings. So I think a lot of kids have a heightened sense of anxiety that you and I didn't experience when we went to school. You know, the biggest thing we had to worry about was somebody saying we weren't cute, or our lockers, or, you know, a fist fight out on the playground. So I think that it really depends on what is going on with your student and your child. If you notice that you're unable to break through their anxiety and get them to calm down and feel secure and settled about going to school, then absolutely I would bring in either a guidance counselor or a teacher that you know that they happen to have a very close bond with, that could be a mentor and a support to them while they're at school and away from you.
And if your kids are having issues, I mean, it's so tough because there is that line where, you know, you want them to be independent and you don't want to be the overbearing mother. But how do you handle this? You know, how do you handle it so that it's comfortable for everybody and you don't become that person that has to feel like you're hovering every time your kids are there?
Yeah, you don't want to become that helicopter parent,
right,
or that swoops in and saves the day every time a child has a struggle or an issue. You know, it's interesting because our girls are all on the other side of school. So I've had a lot of experience of getting them through this. And I found the thing that was most successful for each one of our daughters, even though they're all very different and they handle conflict and stress differently, was just allowing them to take a moment to come up with their own plan and their own solution. I think it's really important as a parent to teach your kid how to have their own coping mechanisms, because I mean, the reality is you're not going to university with them.
Right.
You're not going to their place of employment when they're adults with them. So you're not doing them any favors by jumping in and saving the day. So we always had a lot of conversation and said, you know, well, what do you think? How do you think you could make that better? How do you think you could feel better in that situation? And we gave them the tools and the gift of problem solving. And I think a lot of parents are really doing a huge disservice to their children by jumping in, swooping in, and saving the day for them and not allowing them to develop those skills that they're going to need for the rest of their lives.
All right, thank you, Chantal. For more on this, you can follow Chantal on social media, Twitter and Instagram at Chantal Bisson, or you can check out her website, chantalbisson.com. And she'll be back with us next hour. We're going to talk about how to make sure your teen isn't bullying or being a bully themselves. We'll be back right after this. And Chantal is back with us this hour to discuss how to make sure your teen is not being bullied or is a bully themselves. Now, that's a tough one, especially. The first part we're going to talk about is the warning signs that your teen may be a victim of bullying. Because a lot of times, as you know, Chantal, kids don't want to talk to their parents, especially about stuff like this. So what are the signs that you look for and how do you talk to them?
Well, the signs that we always looked for, and I was paying attention to because I had been bullied in school, was a change in appetite, a change in patterns, change in their demeanor. Like, did you find that they were quieter around the house? Do you find that they're not as excited to go to school? Do you find that they're spending a lot of time alone at home, not having friends over, not going to friends' houses, and not being social? I think that these are all markers to look for, and to also be aware of that it could be the start of a bigger problem. Either it could be bullying, it could be anxiety, it could be not doing well at school, struggling in a particular class. It could be any number of things that is going on with your child. So I think it's really important that you've got to be paying attention and look for signs.
Okay, now let's do the reverse of that, because again, parents also don't want to think that their kid could possibly be a bully. So how do you know if your child is maybe on the more aggressive end of those things?
Well, that also is a great question, because from being bullied, I in turn spent a year bullying just to protect myself. I joined up with, you know, the biggest bully on the playground and became her best friend. And we sort of went around and we wreaked havoc in other people's lives. And I have had one of our daughters was doing that as well. She was being a bully. So, you know, here's the thing. and I'm a big fan of this, and I've said it in probably every single segment that I've done for you, is dialogue, conversation. Don't ever think for 5 minutes that your child is that one angel on the playground who is not causing any trouble. There is always going to be a time throughout their life where your kid blows it, where your kid is going to be that pain in the neck on the schoolyard. And it's important as a parent to go into your parenting knowing that your kid is going to be that kid at some point. So have the conversations. Don't be afraid to ask them every day, how was it at school today? Not how was school simply, but how were you at school today? What did you do at school today? How were you on the playground today? Did you have any conflicts? How did you resolve them? Like, it's all about talking to your kid and drawing the information out. And then also checking in randomly with teachers saying, hey, how is little Bobby doing on the playground and in class? Is she a bully? And hey, you've got to be involved. Parenting takes involvement.
Yes, it certainly does. And Chantel, as always, we appreciate you being here. We're going to direct people to your social media and your website because I know there's going to be a lot of questions, especially around this. So Twitter and Instagram at Chantal Bisson, and the website is chantalbisson.com.